Joe Biden watched your show because he would call into the show sometimes, right?
He would, and I would hear from the chief of staffs that worked for him.
Chief
Be
of
nice
staffs
to the president, because when you're critical, well, it kind of screws up our day.
Does that affect how you approach doing your show?
No.
Yes, the American hero journalist Joe Scarborough, known as Mo Yarborough, on the Jimmy Kimmel Show last night, propagandizing on behalf of the Democrat Party. It's good to be a Democrat. All the networks are your bootlickers, and that was, again, Mo Yarborough, who's just a disgraceful human being, an appalling person. And NBC pays him millions of dollars to fake being a journalist while he's a bootlick and a propagandist, Joe Scarborough. And he's got a show on an NBC network, but last night he was on the ABC television network with Jimmy Kimmel, spreading the Democrat Party's propaganda. So why is it that NBC and ABC are in bed with one another in the hot tub, all lubed up and passing the stuff around? That's Joe Scarborough, NBC, and Jimmy Kimmel, ABC, and they have the same propaganda message, and there they are on national television spreading the party's propaganda message, and ICE is bad. And then let's go to Stephen Colbert. That was last night on Jimmy Kimmel and the ABC television network, and they have the host of an NBC show on to show that they agree, and they get in the hot tub, which is full of, what is that, apple cider vinegar? Is that what they get into the hot tub in? But also on Monday night, they had Stephen Colbert, who has a show on the CBS television network, and he went on the NBC television network with Seth Meyer to spread the Democrat Party's propaganda. Now, the first one I played was a combination of NBC television network and ABC television network. This one is a combination, Stephen Colbert, of the CBS television network with Seth Meyers on the NBC television network, and it sounded like this.
You might run for office, maybe even president?
I've heard that one.
Yeah.
I've heard that one. Obviously,
and the crowd of idiots goes wild.
Obviously, I mean, that's something I have discussed with my faith leader and my family.
Yeah.
And if there is some way for me to serve the American people in some way that could possibly be greater than a late-night television show, I would consider that. But obviously, I've heard that, yeah. I get it. How about that? I get it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've heard that. I get it. They want me to run for president because we live in an idiocracy, and the idiots are members of the Democrat Party, card-carrying members of the Communist Party and the Democrat Party. But those two sound bites played together make a point, because we have the CBS television network in bed with the NBC television network in that most recent soundbite. In the previous soundbite, we have the NBC television network in bed with the ABC television network, Scarborough with Jimmy Kimmel, and then we have Colbert with Seth Meyer. That's CBS plus NBC, and here we've got NBC plus ABC, and it demonstrates that all three of the broadcast television networks are nothing but propaganda outlets for the Democrat Party, and there is no daylight between the propaganda from CBS and the propaganda from NBC, and then join the propaganda from NBC with the propaganda from ABC, all three national television networks, which, of course, have, federal communications licenses to broadcast through the airwaves. And the Democrat Party has co-opted those like they're the Chinese Communist Party in Red Dawn, and they've taken over the television networks. Perfectly normal. They expect this. It's good to be a Democrat. They're all in the hot tub together, and they're as corrupt as the day is long. They're as corrupt as the Reverend Al Charlatan, who they pay seven figures to say ridiculous things on NBC television networks, like so many ridiculous things that the Reverend Al Charlatan says.
I have to be the most inept charlatan in the country.
Well, that's true. Every now and then, a squirrel and a nut and all that stuff. We've got that, and that's one of the great Al Charlatan cuts, and then of course, he's got some other gems as well, doesn't he?
But resist we must, and we will much about that be committed.
That's our anchor. See, that's honestly, it's like that's our Hitler in The Producers by Mel Brooks. But isn't that amazing? All right, now let's get to the today's stuff, because isn't this amazing? There's new footage, new video of Alex, and we just call him Alex because he's Alex Pretty. And it turns out that he was 11 days before he was shot and killed. He was out there attacking federal law enforcement with steel-toed boots on, apparently carrying his pistol, probably with extra ammunition. And he attacked federal law enforcement, black SUV. He was spitting in the faces of the federal law enforcement officers on their windows. They were inside their vehicle, and screaming at them and flipping them off and cursing them out, and then throwing kicks at the taillight structure, the right rear end of the black SUV, kicking the entire lighting apparatus completely out of the side of the car. And last night on the news movement, it's a show, and they showed the video, and it sounded like this.
On the morning of January 13th, our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36 and Park Avenue in Minneapolis,
which they're allowed to do.
We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We
Good
saw
idea.
observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground.
It's Alex Pretty.
During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat, and he walks away.
And why they didn't arrest him right there, because that's felony assault on a law enforcement official, and then if he had his pistol on him, which some video seems to show, and the incident 11 days before he was shot and killed, that would be felony assault on a federal law enforcement official while armed, and that would be a very serious crime, I've got to say. The news movement footage with their Alex Pretty.
The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Pretty was wearing on the day he was killed.
Because it's him.
What appears to be a gun is also visible above his waistband.
In the earlier incident, 11 days prior, and also that Newsmax showed last night with freeze frames and the videos that 11 days prior, when he was attacking federal law enforcement, he was also armed and should have been charged with felony assault on federal law enforcement while armed, which is a serious crime. This morning, very early in the morning, I was watching the television, and a former Secret Service agent, and now retired Secret Service agent, Charles Marino, who's also been a Department of Homeland Security advisor. Here is Charles Marino this morning on the Fox News channel.
The two incidents, this one was a week before, where we see the taillight of the government vehicle being kicked out with government agents inside, gives us a peek into the mindset of Pretty. And that was, what type of role or activities was he involved in being out there on the street? And it's very clear that he had no hesitation about coming into contact with federal agents in a very aggressive manner. And that is to threaten and to obstruct, both of which took place the week prior to him being shot and killed.
Yeah, 11 days prior, and I would say that the assault on the vehicle, which constitutes assault on officers and spitting at them and cursing them out through the window, and then when the officers get out, he violently assaulted the officers. And if only he had been arrested and charged 11 days earlier, he might be enjoying breakfast in Minneapolis today rather than having been shot to death. But Charles Marino, who is seemed like a solid guy. I don't know him personally, but he seemed like a solid guy on the television this morning. Very straightforward, clear-eyed, and Charles Marino talking about the incidents, now multiple incidents, Here's Charles Marino.
Now, though the incidents will be handled separately regarding use of force that took place during the most recent encounter, it does give us a peek into the narrative that Democrats are giving so far on this individual and what his plans were regarding peaceful protests, and the fact that that appears to be false.
And that appears to be false. That's he's very judicious in his use of language, is Charles Marino. But he's also getting to the core of what we're talking about here. And again, if he had been appropriately, I think, arrested the first time, 11 days prior to being shot and killed, that he might not have been shot and killed. But you got to enforce the law. That would be a good idea, I think. Now, the left-wing radical extremist Jacob Fry, who is the elected mayor of Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is an embarrassment to Minneapolis, and it's Mogadishu in Minnesota. And here's the idiot. He was naturally being fluffed on CNN last night, and they had Sarah Seidner and I think Manderson Pooper was in there with him, right, Michael? Yeah, and Manderson Pooper and Sarah Seidner of CNN giving a tongue bath, a fluff job to Jacob Fry, the Democrat mayor, who's inciting violence, inciting division, and I think the Democrats are going to move their capital back to Richmond, Virginia, as they did from 1861 to 1865 when the Republicans drove them out and ended slavery over the dead bodies of the Democrat Party. But here is the Democrat mayor, Jacob Fry, on CNN last night.
There was a general agreement that what has been happening for these last several weeks should not be happening into the future. Now, I made it very clear that Operation Metro Surge needs to end.
Did Tom Homan say he would end it?
He did not make a commitment to ending it on any given timeline. However, my hope, my expectation is that the troops and the agents we're seeing will be drawn down.
The troops, there are no troops. They're federal law enforcement. In fact, did you see that the governor, Tim Walz, called up the National Guard in Minnesota? Did you see this stuff? I don't think we posted this on the allegedly social media either. But they called up the National Guard, or their Minnesota National Guard. So they're really nice people, and they're smiling, pleasant people, and they're patriotic. They signed up for their National Guardsmen, and you know what the governor had them do? The governor had them go out not to back up the police, to backstop the police or federal law enforcement who are enforcing the laws and arresting illegal aliens who are child rapists and murderers. The Democrats want more of those people loose on the streets of Minnesota because they're Democrats and they're all mentally ill. But this is amazing. The Tim Walz, who the Democrats wanted to be vice president and a heartbeat away from the Oval Office, Tim Walz had the Minnesota National Guard, called them up and had them go out and hand out donuts, hot coffee. I'm not making this up. Hot coffee and hot cocoa and hot chocolate, whatever that. Hot chocolate, hot cocoa, and hot coffee, along with donuts, to the protesters, to the rioters, to the mentally ill mob in the street, not to federal law enforcement. They weren't there to give hot coffee and hot chocolate and donuts to the federal law enforcement. They're there to nurture and be nice to the criminal mob in the street, presumably some more of them gun-toting, mentally ill lunatics, because, they're Democrats, aren't they? So isn't that remarkable? Your Democrat Party. Yes, sir. Had them handing out donuts to the rioters and hot coffee because of their many mental illnesses. You know that rural Americans deserve access, of course, to the best of what our great nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. And across every state, every city, every community in this great land of ours, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, our neighbors, the people that we love, that we work with. No matter where you live in the United States of America, hospital care does not clock out. They never go home for the day. They are there 24 hours a day, 7 days days a week. And every year, America's more than 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care and delivering babies, of course, providing cancer treatments, keeping people alive, and other life-saving care that patients rely on and that we as Americans, we expect. Behind every one of those patients, there are doctors, nurses, caregivers working tirelessly all day and all night to keep people healthy and safe. Now, hospitals are our communities and cities' first lines of defense. They employ our neighbors and our family members to keep our families healthy. But right now, some people in Congress are threatening access to that care. Tell Congress to protect patient care and keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care. Paid for by the Coalition to Strengthen America's Health Care. Yeah, and I've got to say these people in there, they're out there pretty much in public saying it. You've got Charles Marino, who makes sense. Then you've got Jacob Fry on CNN with the mental illness. I have more. I want to hear the news media going out and talking to what they say are regular people on the street. That's coming up.
So in the words of my late friend Aretha Franklin, show some RESPICT.
The Democrat Party is criminally insane and mentally ill. The Democratic Mayors Association announces that they have set up a legal defense fund for Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, a legal defense fund, and he's going to keep all the money. And on the page, they have their recommended amount that you should contribute. It starts at $5,000, and they have boxes here you can click on. $10,000, $25,000. They think Alex Soros is going to come in, and he probably will. $50,000, $100,000, or another amount for the legal defense fund, which they say is not tax deductible. Isn't that amazing? And not only is it not tax deductible, Mayor Jacob Fry has set up a legal defense fund for himself. And listen, he gets to keep this money after it's all over, and they're looking for billionaires and millionaires to throw money at him because he's destroying America, and the left, they love that stuff. And here it is, Mila Joy writing the breaking news: Mayor Jacob Fry has set up a legal defense fund for himself, of course. He's broken federal law, and he knows it. Arrest him, AG Pam Bondi. Do not disappoint him, their thing says. And they've got a note from Jacob Fry claiming that the Trump administration is bad, and he wants to keep doing the job that he's doing, they say. And donate to my legal defense fund. It's a slush fund. He's going to keep the money. All right, let's get the rest of the lunatics, the loons, the Democrat Party. What is the matter with these people? I've got to tell you. Yeah, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry is set up a fundraiser for himself. All the Democrats do. You know, the lesbian girlfriend or wife, remember one report said they were married and one said they weren't, with the young woman that crashed her car into a federal agent and was shot and killed, and the Democrats decided she was the hero of the story because you should be allowed to run over federal law enforcement when they're telling you to get out of the car, and the Democrats are not on the side of anything good. But that's except Renee Good. They're on the side of Renee Good. That's the only good thing they're on. Just amazing stuff. These people, they've got all their heroes are criminals. The Democrat Party. And you just commit crimes, and the Democrat Party will love you. But Jacob Fry has set up a fundraiser for himself, and the minimum they recommend you contribute is $5,000. And then on their click on this box, up to $100,000 that you should give to Jacob Fry, the Democrat mayor of Minneapolis, because Trump bad, and crime good, illegal alien crime even better. I think that's great. And they have this jihadi Democrat radical. I was just talking about the other radical attorneys general around the country, the Arizona Democrat Attorney General, who recommended on video a woman that you go out and shoot federal agents because she said the stand your ground law would protect you. That's what she said. She's the chief law enforcement agent. The Democrat running for Attorney General in Ohio, of course, he is saying that he's going to kill Donald Trump. He's going to execute him, and the charges will be named at a later date. But it'll be a capital offense, and then he'll railroad him, and he'll be found guilty of a capital offense and then executed by the state, according to the Democrat that is still running for right on the Democrat, Jay Jones, who's now the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia, ran on the prospect that he would shoot in the head with the only two bullets he had, not Adolf Hitler or Pol Pot if they were in the room, but the two bullets would be used to shoot in the head and murder the Republican Speaker of the State House in Virginia, and that he wanted to kill his children too. And of course, the district attorney, a Soros guy in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Independence Hall and all that, saying that the Nazis that are the federal law enforcement will be hunted down for the rest of their lives, just like the Nazis after World War II. This is the Democrat Party. And then they kill 1 million babies this year and harvest their organs, and they attack every Jewish institution in the country while they call everybody Nazis. No sense of irony. But Keith Ellison, a former member of the House of Representatives, a radical left-wing extremist, a jihadi Islamist Muslim radical who was elected to become the chief law enforcement officer in the state of Minnesota. And here's Keith Ellison because radical left riots are good. He wants to see more of that.
The real justice and the real freedom and the real true democracy will be because you go out in the street and demonstrate and say no to this oppression.
Yeah, say no to this oppression, and definitely crash your car into federal agents and bring your gun with extra magazines of ammunition, because the gunfight might go on for a long time. And this is what this criminal is inciting. And make no mistake, he's a criminal. Now, ABC Fake News, their chief anchor, his pay was reduced from $30 million a year to $25 million a year recently by ABC News, along with others at ABC News. But George Stephanopoulos, their chief journalist, who didn't have any journalistic experience. He just worked in Democrat Party politics and the Clinton White House, and then they gave him a multi-million-dollar anchorman job because it's a Democrat Party shill. The whole thing is a fraud. ABC News reporter Alex Rivera, he was hired because he's, got his name is Rivera. So he got that. And he's talking to a woman on the street named Monica. It's misspelled Monikah. That's Monica Ergarter. And Monica Ergarter, was interviewed on the street by ABC News' Alex Rivera.
In Minneapolis, mourners continue to gather.
He was a hero, and he died saving somebody's life.
Alex Pretty was a hero, and he died saving somebody's life. And Alex Rivera is a fraud and a shill, and should probably be deported, I think. But in that way, he was a hero, and he died saving someone's life. Whose life did he save? That question was not asked. Not asked. Whose life did he? There was a woman who was attacking the police. She was pushed on her butt. She was being arrested. He interfered with federal law enforcement, and that makes him a hero. And he died saving someone's life, which is a lie. And that's what they do. They're ABC Fake News. ABC Fake News is Alex Rivera. Then they were mourning the tragic loss of Alex Pretty. Because he showed up at a riot with a gun and an extra magazine and got into a fight with federal law enforcement, and he lost, which happens a lot. I fought the law, and the law won is an old song. It's got a happy little beat. And here's Alex Rivera talking to another mourner, described this woman as a mourner, Courtney Miles, who was out there loving the crime and the criminal.
Do you believe the president when he says he's going to de-escalate?
No. I believe that the devil doesn't come like a monster with hornets. I believe the devil comes and tells you everything you want to hear.
The devil doesn't come with hornets. With hornets? I think she probably Far be it from me to correct Courtney Miles, who was interviewed on the street by Alex Rivera of ABC News, but I think she meant horns. The devil doesn't come with horns. That reminds me of the line from Broadcast News, the movie Broadcast News, talking about the devil and how the devil will come, and it won't come with a red suit and horns and all that stuff. But wasn't that amazing? From just remarkable stuff. These people.
What do you think the devil's going to look like if he's around?
God.
Come on, no one's going to be taken in by a guy with a long, red, pointy tail. Come on, what's he going to sound like? No. I'm semi-serious here.
You're serious?
He will be attractive. He'll be nice and helpful. He'll get a job where he influences a great God-fearing nation. He'll never do an evil thing. He'll never deliberately hurt a living thing. He'll just bit by little bit lower our standards where they're important. Just a tiny little bit. Just coax along, flash over substance. Just a tiny little bit.
Fun scene with Albert Brooks and Holly Hunter in the movie Broadcast News from 1987. The news media and their satanic roots. Isn't that amazing? That's right. He's not going to have red suit. But that on ABC News, Donald Trump is Satan, see? And he doesn't come with Hornets because they only interview stupid, ignorant, uneducated people because they only talk to Democrats even on the streets, on the sidewalks of New York, where somebody might come along, a hero of the Democrat Party, and shoot a CEO in the back and murder him, and then all the women will find him attractive, and he'll be a hero of the Democrat Party because they love murder, the Democrat Party.
The devil doesn't come like a monster with hornets. I believe the devil comes and tells you everything you want to hear.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe she was watching Broadcast News last night, but I doubt it. Isn't that amazing? You people. That's right. And the Democrat DA in Philadelphia says that the wannabe Nazis, and they're going to hunt them down for the rest of their lives. Stephen Colbert says that the actual Nazis in World War II were better than ICE, and ICE is worse than the actual Nazis of World War II. The Democrat Party. Yes, sir. All right, now, I just want to remind you of a couple of things. Barack Hussein Obama was the president of the United States because the communists voted him in, and they're racists, so they voted him because of his melanin levels and really nothing else. He was a backbench Democrat senator that nobody paid any attention to, and he sat there reading Saul Alinsky in the back of the room. Barack Obama, in the year 2010, while he was president of the United States, talking about illegal aliens being illegally in our country, which was illegal then.
Ultimately, our nation, like all nations, has the right and obligation to control its borders.
What?
And set laws for residency and citizenship.
What?
And no matter how decent they are, no matter their reasons,
gang members,
the 11 million who broke these laws should be held accountable.
30 million now, they should be held accountable, which makes you, now if I had just read that instead of playing the Obama audio, and I said every Democrat would call that person a racist. They'd call him a Nazi, a fascist, Hitler, worse than Nazis from World War II, as Stephen Colbert would say. But that was Barack Obama while he was president in 2010, and every nation has a duty, an obligation to control our borders, and to immigrants have a responsibility to respect our laws. And he used the number 11 million. Barack Obama gave us Joe Biden, and Joe Biden let in way more than 11 million people. By the way, in the entire time that Ellis Island was open for more than 60 years as the gateway to America, 12 million legal immigrants came through Ellis Island. We had a greater number than that come illegally into the country just in the 4 years of Joe Biden. But there's Barack Obama. He's Hitler. He's a Nazi, saying that we've got borders. We've got an obligation to enforce our laws and to secure our border. So Donald Trump only has done what Barack Obama said in 2010. At 2010, every country needs to do. And today, that would, of course, make him Hitler. He'd be Hermann Goering. but a skinny version of Herman Goering because, of the HIV/AIDS and all that. But here, Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton in 2015. And what was she in 2015? She was a failed former Secretary of State who we attacked more countries with the U.S. military under Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton than we had since World War II. Here's Hillary Clinton in 2015, and she's talking about, you may remember, the murder of Kate Steinle. A young woman, a very nice young woman, was in San Francisco walking along the waterfront with the piers and the restaurants and all that with her father, Kate Steinle, very lovely young woman, San Francisco. And Kate Steinle was gunned down by an illegal alien criminal who shot and murdered her, and the news media didn't care and Hillary didn't care. But here's Hillary Clinton talking about the murder of Kate Steinle by an illegal alien who was here illegally and murdered her for no reason at all, quite randomly, and Hillary Clinton didn't care.
Any city should listen to the Department of Homeland Security, which, as I understand it, urged them to deport this man again after he got out of prison another time. Here's a case where we've deported. He ends back up in our country, and I think the city made a mistake. The city made a mistake not to deport someone that the federal government strongly felt should be deported.
That the federal government felt strongly should be deported, but the Democrats arrested him and jailed him for various crimes as an illegal alien. He had been deported. He sneaked back into the country again. California coddled him. Finally, he murdered a young woman who should be alive today and be raising her children and be a wonderful wife and have a great family. But how the death of Kate Steinle shamed San Francisco and set the stage for the city's takeover by illegal alien drug dealers and a decade of self-inflicted misery. That's the San Francisco Public Safety News writing. And by the way, the guy that murdered Kate Steinle for no reason at all, who was an illegal alien from Latin America, was released after murdering Kate Steinle. Time served for man in 2015 San Francisco peer killing of Kate Steinle. And it turns out a California federal judge sentenced the Mexican man acquitted of murder in the 2015 shooting death of a woman on a San Francisco pier to the 7 years he's already spent in jail, bringing the legal thing closed the case that ignited a national firestorm over immigration. That'd be illegal immigration, crime in sanctuary cities. But Jose Inez Garcia Zarate, who was in the United States illegally when Kate Steinle, 32 years old, was fatally shot along a crowded Pier 14 where she was walking with her father and a family friend. And he faces deportation, but I bet he walked back in under Joe Biden, and now the Democrats are running him for office. Aren't they something, those people? I am telling you. Let's see what we can get to of Ilhan Omar. She was ranting and raving about ICE and Kristi Noem and how she should be fired or resign. And then she went on MS-13 Now last night with the radical left-wing cross-dresser named Chris Hayes. And here's Ilhan Omar last night on MS-13.
I was reading, so I wasn't looking at that moment. I remember
she looked up and gave him a signal.
Like someone was saying something close to me. And I looked up, and there was a man plunging towards me. And
he wasn't lunging.
There was some liquid thing that I, at the moment, thought it was like a spit. And so I, instinctively,
in a syringe,
tried to punch him, basically, for trying to spit on me.
No, you didn't. None of that is true. But here's Chris Hayes, MS-13.
You, obviously, security tackled him. It looks like he...
I wasn't able to make contact with him.
You did not, yes. Although that image has gotten everywhere today.
Yeah,
she's a hero.
Saved by the security.
He was saved by the security.
Yeah.
He was saved by the security. Otherwise, she would have killed him. Were you wearing a suicide vest? Here is this ridiculous exchange.
Final question for you, and I know you have to go. You were calling for Kristi Noem to resign when you were assaulted last night. Do you think Kristi Noem should resign? What do you want to see happen?
Yeah, definitely Kristi Noem should resign.
You should resign. You should be deported to Mogadishu with a parachute out of an airplane. to be generous. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, she said now she was not intimidated by him. There's no change in her facial physiognomy and her eyes or eyebrows. Was it faked? Look at the video where she looks at the guy, makes her statement that Kristi Noem should resign or be expelled, be impeached, and she gives kind of a wink to the guy, who then gets up, never gets close to her, squirts some apple cider vinegar on her, which is salad dressing, and immediately thereafter, she said she felt as fresh as a summer's eve.
That is what I mean when I say that I'm going to kill Donald Trump.
Yes, the Democrat running for Attorney General in Ohio. That's what he means when he says he's going to kill Donald Trump. He means he's going to kill him, murder him, execute him, trumped up charges. Let's go back to the phones, Michael. Let's go to Becky. Calling from the great state of Mississippi, just outside of Memphis, Tennessee. Becky, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, Becky.
I've got a short story. First thing is, I'm hoping that the Secret Service is checking all these people that are threatening Donald Trump's life.
Uh-huh.
Because
I hope so, too.
They should be.
Yeah, they certainly should be.
This is my story. Now, this happened back in the 90s. My late husband, he did his final 24 years up there at the old Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Medhold.
Uh-huh.
And one evening, his first sergeant got a call. I believe I don't think Joe had to go in, but had a call that one of his crazies, and they had a few, had called 911 and threatened the president.
Uh-huh.
Secret Service came to Walter Reed, to the hospital, to the barracks, and talked to the young man and had a serious discussion, decided that he was not in his right mind, and no, he wasn't going to do anything. But it was the Secret Service.
Well, right. And now we have the Democrat running for Attorney General in Ohio promising to kill Donald Trump. And somehow Democrats just seem to get away with everything, Becky. Thanks for the great call.